Hey everybody, coming at you at the Denver Hero. Welcome back to another episode of Game Talks with another game I've always wanted a second installment of. You know, you love them, you gotta have them with some coffee in the morning. It's Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg. Without further ado, let's get into it. This game is one of the games that I don't really remember where I first heard it, but I saw it and I thought it was fun, I thought it was cool, so I wanted to get it. But I think I remember in Walmart when we used to be able to play like the demo games, I think I remember playing it in there for the very first time and wanting to play more of it. So I, no doubt, after annoying the crap out of my parents enough, they finally got it, and I played it. And I never looking back, it's one of the better experiences, video game experiences from my childhood. And again, it was by Sega. It was a platformer, but was more of in the style of Mario 64. And they had that kind of mission-based, go to certain objectives, get the crest kind of deal. I'm like, oh, okay. And that was something because as a kid, I know, shocker, I didn't play Mario 64. I didn't own an N64. I barely even knew it existed. I'm not even gonna lie there. I barely even knew it even existed when I was a kid. So my first foray into that kind of gameplay was Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg. And it did the job quite nicely, and so well, in fact, that I was wanting more at the end after I beat the game and got everything. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll definitely play another one of these. Unfortunately, we all know how that turned out, but I digress. Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg is about, well, a young protagonist named Billy Hatcher who is whisked away from the human world into the other world of Morningland, if I'm not mistaken, to save it from an eternal night by donning a legendary chicken suit granted to him by the chicken god to save the chicken elders and bring back the dawn, the sun, and whatnot. And from that description, it sounds a little goofy, and it is, but it does it on purpose. It's fun, it's cute, it's quirky. But that's, in terms of plot, that's pretty much all there is to it in the plot. Much like into most these kids games, it's stop the bad guy. You have to save Morningland, stop the bad guy, and that's literally it. What's different in this game's unique gimmick is that Billy himself doesn't really fight. He has these egg animal creature things that he hatches from, well, eggs. Like you get an egg, he starts rolling it, right? And as he's rolling it, you like defeat enemies, and you get these like little fruits that are in bubbles. You get enough of them, goes into the egg. It gets bigger as that happens, right? And when it gets big enough, you can use the whole, I guess, rooster call, cock-a-doodle doo thing, and it'll hatch into one of these egg animals or beasts. And that was like, oh, that's pretty cool. This is like a Digimon or Pokemon kind of deal as well. This is an awesome gimmick. But not only can the egg hatch into an animal, but as it gets like bigger, you can actually use it as a weapon. You can like roll it up, kind of like a spin dash like thing, and you can dash forward. You can like ground pound with it. You can crush enemies with it. That's like your main mode of damaging enemies until the egg animal hatches. And even your call can like stun enemies. And I'm like, oh, this is actually pretty fun and enjoyable. You can even like bounce with the egg somehow. However, if the egg starts taking damage, it will begin to crack. It cracks too much, it breaks. Then all that progress is just lost. They have to find another egg and roll it up to that size again, so you can use it. Okay, there are certain like rings that will only take like a certain sized egg. Like if they're too small, it won't work. It has to be like just big enough. If it's like too big, it won't work. So I'm like, oh, okay, it's like a bit of a size management thing here. It wasn't too clunky, it wasn't too cumbersome. I could get to where I wanted to go without too much hassle. It was never annoying, so I didn't mind. Some games where they did this would have made it super annoying and awkward and unfun to play, but not this one, and I enjoyed that. Only that the egg animals actually come in like different elements like fire, water, lightning, ice, steel, and light, if I'm not mistaken. They can get past certain like stage hazards, like if there's a wall of fire in your way, you have to get another egg animal So open another egg, get the animal hatchet, and then use that to attack. But you can only have like 1 or 2 egg animals at a time. You can't have too many. I think only 2's the max. The only real downside about the egg animals is that after a bit, some of their attacks are very samey. Like if it's like a fire dash for one, it could be a wind dash for another. Just that the animation looks different or changes. So you can get only a bit samey. It's not too horrible. And when you're going from stage after stage after stage, I mean, you might notice. But when I was a kid, I certainly didn't notice. I certainly didn't care. Now there are 7 stages in all. I think with the elders, you have to save in each one. Then I think the giant palace, where you have to rescue the giant egg, which also grants wishes miraculously. I kind of felt like they were still on the whole giant object thing, like the Master Drum World from Sonic. I think that's what they were trying to pay homage to. But I'm like, alright, that works, that's fine, because we have like the elders around it, the giant egg, and we have the main antagonists, the crows or whatever, trying to get this power. I'm like, I mean, yeah, it works. Now, the only stages I truly remember vividly are the final boss in the giant palace, the first one, and then there's the desert one. I remember that one in the sand ruins, if I'm not mistaken. Because I always thought the boss was kind of BS when I was a kid, and 2, that's where you get the super version of Ricky, I want to say, because the only 2 egg animals, pet things, become like super: the penguin and the monkey. And they're just, look cooler to me. They're just like super, they're stronger, faster. So I'm like, and they have like a rainbow design on their eggs. So when I was a kid, I was like, oh yeah, this is really cool. So I'm like, yeah. Those are the reason I remember the sand ruins. Not that the other ones were unmemorable, just not as, like, I remember Pirate Island down the mountain was fine for the most part. But everything after that, I really don't think. There was like an ice one and a circus one or something like that. Blizzard something or other. That one's a little hazy. I guess they just didn't stick out to me. Maybe they just had such a bad experience, I just wanted to forget them. There's also that possibility. But I choose to say that's just the degradation of memory instead. None of the bosses were really that stand-outish either. I mean, yeah, she provided, I guess, a challenge for the stage they were at, but save for the Sand Ruins boss and the first one, because it's like going back to that first one, because it was just, the first stage, it was easy. I could just get into it, get the rhythm back and playing. They were alright, what I can recall. Nothing was too horrible. I mean, a lot of it was, if I remember, running your egg into them, and that was kind of it. With the Sand Ruins one, I had to strategically use my egg animal instead of just running into stuff. Not the other ones didn't have their elements of strategy to it, but that one in particular just got on my nerves when I was a kid. Spent like the longest time there. Out of almost everywhere. Even the final boss to me wasn't as quite annoying as the Sand Ruins boss. Dark Corvo or Corvus or something like that. Dark Crow, effectively. It was I think when the big bad's right hand dude, his son or something like that. I don't remember quite. But I mean, that's true, then yeah, it's true. And then he just gave me all kinds of problems. I think because he circled outside of the arena, I was just staying in there where I could kind of sort of bum rush him with my giant egg and whatnot. And oh, alright, yeah, that works. But with that, I really couldn't hit him with my egg, and that was the problem. So I had to come in. I had to get an egg animal to do it, and this things have a bit of a timer on it, a charge up time to it, and it just didn't work out for me well. My timing scale was awful. Maybe I'm blowing it out of proportion a little bit. Memory's a bit hazy. Again, I was a kid then, not as good with video games as I am now. So maybe I tried it again, it would be a lot easier. And I'd be like, what was I complaining about? I don't know. The final boss still gave me problems. I just didn't feel like it was as annoying. Dark Raven, because you fight him in the giant palace with the giant egg. He's flying around. I think he's using sword slashes or energy rays at you. Gotta dodge him. I don't think you can really hurt him until you get like the light other attribute egg animal, or some lights they have on the arena that stuns him. Then you can damage him. Because I remember the first phase a bit more. You see an appearance part of the second stage. That's where you have to do the whole light thing, and then afterwards it's kind of a rinse and repeat kind of deal. Nothing too out there. It's nothing too far out there, but they provide a nice challenge for a younger me. I don't know about older me, because if I remember correctly, I'm like, I don't think it's that hard. It's a bit light with the exposed heart thing. Is very much a la Luigi's Mansion, which I did have when I was a kid. Yeah, once you beat the final boss, I mean, the game's over, you saved Morning Land. And there are technically other characters in the game. Like there's Rolly, like Chick, and Bantam or something like that. They're technically, like lore-wise, helping him save Morning Land, but we don't get to really play as them outside of like multiplayer. So I don't count them at all. So thing with multiplayer, my brother spent a long time in there because we got to play with the Sega eggs, where you could hatch like Sonic, Knuckles, Tails from them, like knights and whatnot, and like do their thing. It was like really cool, like little like Sonic summons. It was pretty awesome. We kind of sort of run into like the other person and like fight with them and whatnot. And I think, I don't know if it was multiplayer. I remember multiplayer maybe because my brother played that a lot. You got like different like crests or cowls that go on top of like your head, and you can do like certain things with them. Like if it was a fire one, let it on fire. If one added a wind effect, like a psychic one, you could remote control your egg. I don't know if that was like in the actual game. Remember if it was in the actual game itself. I think it may have been in the actual game proper, but I don't remember. I mean, I like the game, yeah. And the characters, except for Billy, I mean, all of them are pretty one note. They're just like the good guy characters, or the save Morning Life for the bad guy characters. I can't really speak to them, but they were serviceable for the job. I like the gameplay. I really wish they'd make another one. Like, very much so. That was kind of a short one, and that's where they wanted to quickly give you my thoughts on Billy hatching the giant egg. Yep, I thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.